Hey, it's Friday and it's time for Live Art Mini, everyone. We're here at Inside Out Studio and I'm here with the amazing Cassie Sullivan. Cassie, is there anyone that you want to say hi to today?
My family and my friends at Best Buddies.
Friends at Best Buddies. I heard you have a little special happening. There's an event coming up. Would you like to tell everyone about that?
Well, we have the fashion show. We have we had to wear clothes from stores and my Best Buddies in it, my some jellies in it.
Very cool.
A lot of my friends are in it.
So we've got a Best Buddies fashion show coming up where some of our artists are paired with students from Miami University in the Best Buddies program. When is that fashion show going to be?
In Oxford.
Up in Oxford? Do you know what date it is?
The 11th.
Okay, on the 11th. That's very cool. That's so exciting. So what we're talking about today, we got Works on Paper Month. So we're doing some mixed media art. So one thing that we've done in the past is combine permanent markers and or oil pastels with watercolor. And the artists always start with a drawing just in regular pencil as well. So it's kind of mixing together different types of materials for different surface effects and textures. You could also throw in some colored pencils on top of watercolor too, just to bring out a slightly different feel and texture, create some depth in the surface of your drawings and paintings. So we're going to be looking at some of the artists making those today, showing you some examples from the past, and just experiencing maybe something different from you. So it's not just a colored pencil drawing, it's not just a pencil drawing, or watercolor, it's combining a few different materials. And also we've integrated some acrylic paint markers into the studio over the past couple of years, which the artists really seem to enjoy and can bring out some of the line qualities in their paintings and drawings. So before we get started in with artwork, we want to say a big thank you to Sherry Armstead over at Symmetry Boutique and Gallery. So we're going to be hearing from her daughter Debbie a little bit later about some things that they have over there. But they are a series sponsor over at Symmetry Boutique and Gallery. They're in Fairfield on Sims Road. They have all handmade American art, original artwork. So go check those out for some gifts on top of coming into our store and checking out what our artists are creating. And then feel free to like, comment, give us a shout out, tell us how you're doing today. Kim is currently working with a customer up front, so it might take a while to get to those comments. But we're at the ready to say hi right back to you. All right, so should we talk about what you're making today, Cassie?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go to the creativity camera. That's our overhead shot. You can see what Cassie's been working on in the studio this morning. Would you like to describe what you picked out?
I picked out a picture of...
Hold it right down here, and they can see it on our camera.
Log cabins and trees in the background.
All right, so we talked about starting a landscape. And then Cassie picked out that scene. And then what was the process of moving on to the paper? What did you do first?
I draw it out, practicing.
What material did you use for that one? So Cassie went through a number of sketches just on regular computer paper, standard drawing paper, and then moved on to, this is a thicker stock of watercolor paper. So it's a little bit more dense. You can get it, and usually the kind of standard is called 60 and 80 pound, and that just refers to the density of the paper and how much it can absorb. So we've got some thicker stock paper that's going to hold up to the watercolor as it gets laid on top. And then after you got done with your pencil drawing on the watercolor paper, what are you doing right now? What's your process?
I'm doing is outline my drawing. Outline the drawing.
Going right over top of your lines?
Oh, on my line.
And what kind of markers are those?
Watercolor.
No? Good guess though.
Acrylic paint markers.
They're close to the acrylic paint markers. They're actually permanent markers.
Permanent markers.
Yep. So that's after we put these over top of the pencil lines, they're going to hold up to the watercolor paint that goes on top. So you'll still be able to see the markers through. And we were just talking with the artist earlier today. If we use standard markers like Crayola or water-based, when you paint over top of that, those would kind of fade out and haze. So the permanent markers really sink into the fiber of the paper, and they're not affected by the watercolors when they're laid on top. All right, shall we watch you draw for a little bit? So Cassie's been picking out her colors of choice as she goes over the cabin, as well as the bushes and trees in the background. So Cassie has quite the colorful palette, usually like rainbows. So the artist can interpret things however they like. They don't have to stick to the original colors of the pictures they choose. Put their own little twist on it, right?
Yes, you can.
All right, I hear that David Campbell's out there watching today. What do you think of that? Hey, David. We're doing well here. I hope you're having a good day. I like that pink door.
Yeah.
All right, Cassie, I'm going to let you keep drawing on there. And while you're working, I'm going to pull up a picture of a watercolor and permanent ink piece that you've done in the past. Do you remember doing that one? Everyone's seeing this on their screen right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is when you looked at the art history books and you picked out a painting by Henry Matisse. This is called The Red Room. And this has actually been accepted into a show. It's up at the Dayton Metro Library called Art and Soul. Yeah. So that is on exhibit all month of April. I believe it's the second floor of the Dayton Library. It's very good. So as you can see, Cassie's interpretation of The Red Room by Henry Matisse did the original drawing first, went over all of her lines with the permanent markers, and then you can see the texture and the different tones that you can get when you paint on there with watercolor. And this was a pretty large watercolor piece. It was about 18 by 24 inches. So very good. All right, we'll check back in and see how you're doing on your piece. You got that pink door completed. Just keep working there. Let's have a nice Friday afternoon watching you add some color to your drawing. We've got David Campbell watching today, but anyone else watching today, feel free to say hi, give us a comment. We're having a fun afternoon here in the art studio. What did you say there, Jody? Our artist just had a nice walk down the River's Edge Amphitheater, getting outside a little bit, shaking a leg, and enjoying this nice weather in the spring.
You just shake your leg in this.
All right, while you're over there shaking a leg, should we go visit with Jody for a bit? And we'll come back and check in and see how you're doing on your colors.
Well, what is that? You need shaking up in it.
All right, so we're going to unhook the Creative Cam and start rolling. And we've got, hey, Miss Jody Mann.
Hi guys.
Who do you want to say hi to today?
My mom and dad, both my brothers, my sister, my girlfriend Michelle Miller, all my friends. Well, my girlfriend.
I guess who's watching right now?
Oh God, who?
That sister-in-law of yours.
Woo! Hi, Jen.
I hear you're also revving up for this fashion show.
Yes, I will be hanging out with Cassie this weekend.
Very cool, very cool.
It's from 2 to 4, so be there. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. So I'm going to pull up a picture you did earlier this week on Wednesday.
Oh.
Recognize that?
Yes, I used to, right?
What materials did you use to make this one?
Oh, that's good. I used the watercolor, the permanent markers.
Oh, I'm going to stop you there. It wasn't permanent markers. What did we try instead?
Watercolor.
It was kind of like a slippery crayon. Do you remember what it's called?
Slippery crayon.
You had to wear gloves because it gets on your fingers really easy.
Oh yeah, I forget what it's called.
It rhymes with oil pastel. It's oil pastel.
Oil pastel.
So what we're experimenting with is different materials, how they interact. So the artist did some oil pastel drawings and then did watercolor over top. Because as most people may know, oil and water they don't flow with each other.
Is she watching?
Yes, she is watching.
Hey Jen.
So the oil will resist the watercolor, and the oil pastel just sits on the surface, and then the watercolor flows around it. So whatever the artist's drawings were stood out up against the background painting with the watercolors. And then you also got a previous mixed media piece that you've done with the permanent marker and the watercolors.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah? Let's put this up in front of my face. Some nice flowers. You love to draw flowers. That's one of your favorite staples, correct?
Yes, and hearts. Don't forget hearts.
And hearts. And hearts. Flowers and hearts. And what are you working on right now? What's this last piece that you started?
A crochet. I can use some help with that one, Stephen.
Okay, well, I say we started with this. One thing that we keep around the studio for downtime is different types of coloring books. There's some floral coloring books, Art Deco designs, so many different things that artists can choose from. Jody chose this piece, which was Art Deco inspired. I'm going to hold it a little close to the camera here. So you started with this, correct?
Yes.
We didn't have a plan for it. We didn't know what we're going to do with it. It could have turned into a glass piece, could have turned into a ceramic piece. But we chose to experiment. This isn't on paper, but it is mixed media. So what we did is we took your drawing, photocopied it larger, and then we got a fancy word called decoupage. Decoupage. We basically glued the prints out down to the surface of the canvas, and then Jody's using this as a template to do an original painting right on top. So kind of taking your inspiration, you chose this page from the coloring book, you colored it in with your colors of choice, and now we're going to enlarge it and make it a painting.
Yeah, I didn't know if I could get this done.
Well, it doesn't have to be done today.
Oh, good.
So, more of an experiment. We don't know where it's going to go, but we like to try new things. And
yeah. I also like to say hi to all my girlfriends who are watching. And the fashion show is going to be fun. So, when you guys get a chance, come up and see me and Cassie this week at the fashion show. It's in Oxford.
Very cool. Hey, we should also announce Shift.
Well, we should have.
Oh.
We should have said that.
Yep, so May 15th, if you're following us online, you should know all about Shift. But it's going to be our first fundraiser of the year down at River's Edge Amphitheater. You know what? We've got circus performers coming.
Yeah.
We've got fire spinners, LED jugglers. We've got DJs on stage. We've got full light and sound production by the River's Edge crew. We've got live painting on stage.
They also have.
We have beverages.
Yeah, but.
We have adult beverages. We've got soft beverages, and we've got a full meal's worth from 2 women in the kitchen. So it's our fundraiser. Technically, it's $60 per ticket, but the way things are set up at River's Edge, you have to buy a square of 4. So that means it's $240 for a square of 4 people. So call your friends, call your family, get some tickets on reserve. And Kim should be putting the link to our Shift event in the comment section so you can jump to that. Are you going to be there?
Yes, with my mom.
All right. Are you going to be doing some live painting or some live art?
Oh, yeah.
I hope so. I'll put you to work.
Don't feel loved. I'm helping my mom.
All right. So Jody will be there. Her mom will be there. She's actually one of our board members. But check out Shift on May 15th. And we're going to go check in with Steve Gall next, see what he's working on for his drawing. And then first, we're going to hear from Debbie Weisbrod over at Symmetry Boutique and Gallery.
Oh, you mean that's you from my brother and sister-in-law's house?
That's correct.
Good.
We'll be right back with you.
Hi, my name is Debbie. I'm here at Symmetry Boutique and Gallery. I am Sherry Armstead's daughter, and we want to thank you for your continued support of our small local business here in Fairfield. Inside Out Studio has always been a mission that Sherry and Symmetry has supported in their mission to help young artists and giving them opportunities. If you're new to Symmetry,
Large-scale piece with all of his awesome characters. And should be with you in just a second. And here we go. All right, Stevie, so everyone can see right down here in front of you what you're working on right now. We're actually going to mix some watercolors. All we're going to, so people can see what's going on.
Hey, Sid,
So this is a previous piece that Steve did with his characters. You can see the line drawings done in the permanent ink pen, as well as the watercolor that kind of surrounds it. So he could either just take it right over top, add some color, or for this one he chose to kind of highlight some of the people. That's right. So let's locate the one that you did this morning. And we'll pause for artwork location. So while we're looking for that, I'm going to pull up a piece that Stevie did previously. This has also been accepted into the Art and Soul show. So once again, that's up in Dayton. Check that out in the month of April. So this is different for Stevie. So he's been doing a bunch of flowers. This one's called the gardener because there's one little character that's in the midst of all the flowers that he drew. So sometimes he'll look up different imagery online, and for springtime, we kind of change it up as much as we can. Sometimes we're looking at Spider-Man, sometimes we're looking at Superman, sometimes it's flowers. But we love his drawing style, and the ultrafine Sharpies are really great for bringing out his characters.
Bye.
Did locate Stevie's drawing, and we're going to mix some watercolors with you. And Stevie can do some painting for everyone to see. All right, Stevie. So we're going to make some room here and talk about adding some watercolors on top of the permanent pen drawings. Bust out some materials here. So I'm going to scoot this over a little bit, that way everyone can see us mixing in progress. Hey, Miss Jo, do you want to do me a favor? Pick out some watercolor brushes for Stevie over there. They're kind of small inside.
Oh yeah, can I add something else? I was saying my girlfriend was sharing both my birds, my mom and dad, all my 10 girlfriends.
All right. Thank you, Miss Jody.
Yeah, what else too? I was saying hi to everybody.
All right, Stevie, kind of select a variety of brushes for
Where
you.
I did up here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Stevie, I'm going to lay out a few different colors for you. There's magenta. We've got green. This is actually yellow, even though it looks orange in the bottle. Turquoise. Purple and red. Would you like to pick out 2 of those colors? Red for sure. I know that's one of your favorites. So I'm going to pick out one more color just for variety. That turquoise. Very good. Very nice. Fonz is in the house today. How are we doing today, Fonzie? It's focused on Stevie's drawing right now, so everyone can't see your fabulous dancing. But he is having a great time this Friday. All right, you want to pause and say hi? Fonz is in the house. Would like to say hi to everyone. Anyone special you want to say hi to? Those sisters of yours? Yeah. All right, we're going to jump back here to Stevie and mix some of those colors. So these are actually liquid watercolors. There's a few varieties you can get. Most people think watercolors, they probably think of the trays that you might get in elementary school where you have to dab the brush in, loosen up the paint, and paint with it after the fact. What we use in the studio are either liquid watercolors, which can be thinned down because they're very pure in pigment, or we have tube watercolors, which you also have to mix water with and thin down. So Stevie, I'm just going to mix a couple trays here for you. And it comes back out, it's really intense, highly pigmented, very deep colors, so you do have to thin it down with some water. So how about I give you a few different shades of this. We'll give you a very thinned down version and just a slightly thinned down version. That way you can get some different tones when you paint. Try not to splash it on your paper. So just thinning it out with some water. And then I'll give you two techniques. What some of you might notice about Stevie's drawing today is that some of the characters have larger heads to them. Most of his characters are fairly small. But what we try to do is some different things and experiment, right, Stevie? So we use this cup where you can trace around and create some bigger heads. That way you can see their expressions that much easier. But I like your big people. He's also done different characters, snowmen, he's done Christmas trees, Santa Claus, during the holidays. So he likes to have fun with it. Now, Stevie, do you want to paint with the cup around it, or do you just want to paint inside the surface? With the cup? Well, I'll let you take over from here. I'll pick out the brush of your choice, one of those three. And as you can see, as he starts to paint, even if he goes over top of his line drawing, you can still see it underneath. Very good. You could take that to another character, and just don't forget to dip your brush back into the watercolor. Once again, Stevie's working on that 60-pound watercolor paper. One thing that you're doing when you're doing watercolors is you want to paint fairly slow. If you get too fast, even though it's thick paper, it can start to warp and bend. And that's just for the amount of moisture that's going into the surface. So we encourage any hobbyists out there, as well as all of our artists in the studio, to paint as slow as possible when using watercolors. And if you want to layer colors, you can. That way you can build up the depth of color and also do some blending as you work. Just going to switch it up to blue. I said if you want blue, you have to rinse your brush out first. But it's kind of cool, you got that mixed purple in there. So once again, if you're just joining us, we're talking about mixed media works on paper, experimenting with permanent ink pens and watercolors. We've experimented with watercolors and paint markers, as well as watercolors and oil pastels. While Stevie's working, I'm going to show a few other pieces that we've done earlier in the week. So this is a nice flower by Christina Haynes. This is done with the oil pastel and watercolor technique. So just a smaller 12 by 16 inch piece. It's a nice, bright, colorful flower. And another artist that's in the house today, Mr. James Egan, who's been doing a lot of cars lately. So I'll tell you about that in just a second, but I've heard that Beth Turner is watching. Beth Turner says hi.
Hey!
Remember her from the LC?
Hey, Bobby!
Hello to Beth, hope you're doing well. So this is James Egan's piece done based upon a car that he's interested in, done a number of cars. He actually just drew Christine, the Stephen King car today. But once again, a drawing with the mixed media watercolor laid on top. So everyone likes canvases, everyone likes paintings. I feel like the mixed media and the works on paper don't get enough love. They have their own unique look to them and texture. We're going to stick with Stevie for another minute or so. We're going to end our day, see what Tracy Miracle's been working on.
Sorry.
And we also have a number of works on paper as well as all the artist work at our online store. You can find the link to that in the comment section, so go check that out. We're also open in store. Our hours currently are 10 to 4, Tuesday through Friday. So come and see all the new things that we have for spring. There's lots of flowers coming out. In real life as well, in clay and in glass. I was just told that Stephanie Sheets is out there watching. Hello, Stephanie. Hope you're having a good week. Very good, Stevie. Stevie, I'm going to leave you to work, okay? We're going to slide on over here and check in with Tracy Miracle. All right, just unhook our creativity camera. We're going to keep on rolling. Here we come, Tracy. Mr. Tracy Miracle and his tracing box.
Yeah, John.
So what are you working on today?
Hey, boy.
Pink Floyd, that's right. What did you do this morning?
Tell we do. The courses.
That's right.
Pink Floyd, and the Pink Floyd and the sign.
That's right. We're feeling Pink Floyd this afternoon. You've got your psychedelic tie-dye on. You worked with Amanda Joy. Did the cricket cutter.
Yeah.
And then made a Pink Floyd stencil for those coasters.
Yes.
All right. You mind turning off your tracing box? I'm going to show everyone what you're working on.
What?
Working on that watercolor paper.
Yeah.
So this is Tracy's drawing that he's working on, inspired by the Pink Floyd album cover.
Oh,
Look at that.
look at that.
Rock and roll. I love it, Tracy.
Yeah.
All right, we're ending our show for the day. Is there anyone that you want to say hi to out there?
My dad and Judy.
All right. Dad and Judy, hope you're having a great Friday. And then thanks again to Sherry Armstead at Symmetry Gallery. Check out the online store. Check out Shift. Anything else they should check out?
That has to go. Have a nice weekend.
Have a nice weekend. That's great. All right, I'm going to swing it around for the whole crew.